friends, welcome to the next episode of Tom and Dave Discover DotVVM. I'm Tom.
And I'm Dave. Hello.
So, today, as usual, we will be showing some AI stuff and some things that you will see you can try on your own because the stuff we are showing is literally a couple of hours old. We just released a new public preview of .vvm, the last one before stable version of 5.0, and it comes with .vvm CLI, which you will see in a few minutes. It brings some helpful tools that can especially help AI agents to validate if they produce the correct markup. And we also published a new repo with skills, which you can use right now. So if you go to github.com/riganti/.vvm, and if you append -skills, then you will see this repo, and in this skills folder, you will find 4 skills that you can just copy to your repository and start using them. And I will explain what this skill can do. And the most interesting is .vvm UI prototyping, and you vibe coded a couple of applications using this skill, and I think it's the best thing that can be great. So this repo, we will post the link under in the description. This contains skills which you can start, and I will also show you a bit how we what tools we used to validate that the skills are actually helpful. It's still work in progress. We will be improving these skills to be more valuable, but also testing the skills is quite important. And as you can see, it's really hot stuff, like 47 minutes ago, and we are now live. So really, like before the stream, I was fixing and committing the last bunch of issues before I published this. So this is now public. You can download that and use in your .vvm projects. So let's see what the skills can do. There is a README with a very like brief information about the skills, but let me show VS Code because I have this repo cloned here, and we can look inside this actual skills to see what is there. So there is the generic .vvm skill, which can be helpful in any .vvm application. And if you go to this skill MD, it's something like a compressed documentation of .vvm. So instead of hundreds of markdown files, there is just one markdown file with the most important things, and basically it's created from the mistakes of previous models. If the model hallucinating something, like we have .if or .for each component, then we wrote, no, you don't have that. Use these approaches to do like conditional or repeated sections in the .vvm markup. Yeah. So this is compressed. It explains how .vvm syntax works and what you can use in data bindings. This is very long, so it's in another file. And also there is a list of components, some generic rules, and then based on which packages are installed in the project, there is a directory of components. So for example, the skill contains this controls built in, and this list of controls. So here is everything that can be in .vvm, and it contains examples, table of properties, and examples for some controls. There should be also examples how they are used, not for these ones, maybe they are too old, but for some controls there are also usage examples where how it should be. This is very long because there will be the examples. So there is like how to use grid view, and there is .html and C# code for that. So the AI agent has all the information available, so they know what to use. Also, the .vvm documentation, for a long time it didn't show enums, so you could see this is of like a text box type, but what were the options? It wasn't actually here really possible. So now we have like these documentation pages for enums, and the documentation can actually show it to you. So it's recently added to .vvm documentation. Yeah, so for example, validator placement attached to control standalone or none or things like that. Yeah. So the AI agent should have everything they need to produce markup. And there is a new section, how to validate that the markup the AI agent generated is correct. And previously we had a compilation status page. So if you remember this URL and added it to your localhost URL, then you would see this helpful page that shows you all the. For example, if I open the .vvm documentation and show this right away. So if you haven't seen this compilation status page, it's this one.
Yeah, and also these are quite young skills, but we've been using them for quite a while already and testing them on our own projects and fine-tuning them.
Yeah, they just weren't public, but they are now public, but we have been testing them internally for a couple of months. Yeah, so you can see this is the compilation status page. It has been in .vvm for a very long time, since I think version 2 or something like that, and it can compile all the pages and give you errors. Unfortunately, we don't have any errors here to show. Here in controls, we have some errors. Okay, great. Like, so for example, link button doesn't have this property, so it's useless. So it's a warning. It's not an error. Yeah. So that's it, for example. Yeah. So you can list these things. However, this page is not very friendly for AI agents because they need to download the HTML and somehow figure out what is wrong there, and it's not an easy way to do. Usually they found this JSON, so they parsed this JSON and looked at the warnings from there. But it costs a lot of tokens because this is not optimized for this use case. So we wanted to make something new, and we somehow revived a package called .vvm command line. It's also very old, but it didn't work really well with the recent versions of .vvm. And now from .vvm 5 preview 12, which was published also today, it should work. So if you install this package as a global tool, you will be able to use this .vvm lint command. And if you run it in a directory, let me stop the .vvm documentation and let me try to, this should be the correct folder. So if I write .vvm lint, and I've upgraded the project to .vvm 5.0 preview 12 final because that's needed for the linter. The version of .vvm referenced by the project must be at least this one. So then it should do something. Now we will still be doing some changes to optimize the performance because it's building the project on the background. That's why it takes so long. But as you can see, it didn't produce any errors, which means everything is correct. I think it doesn't scan the controls and master pages. It only looks at the pages. So if I make an intentional mistake in some of the pages, for example, I will try to use, for example, here, like, let's see, for example, our favorite .vvm dot if value equals like value true, for example. Yeah, so dot if, a very nice control. So it should probably not
exist.
It doesn't exist, this control, but LLMs really like it. So I hope that if I run the linter, now it should produce me the error. Because if you build the project, the build would succeed, it's fine, because it's not a C# error, it's just .vvm error. And you would discover about this error only if you run the project, which is too late. So if the AI modifies this file, it can run the linter and it will see these errors, and we made it also friendly for users. So like the control.if cannot be resolved, you have the path to the file and the line number, so it should be pretty nice. And also there is a warning because if it's not a control, it's an HTML attribute element, and this with capital, it produces warning because usually .vvm properties have capital letters. However, if it's HTML attribute, usually there is just like lowercase.
Yeah.
Unless you are in SVG, which is using uppercase letters for some reason. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, and also since it's not the fastest operation, the agent should do it only after editing a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Because I know that sometimes when an agent is given access to something like a language server, they tend to, after each word change, frantically review and check everything. And so the agent should do this after modifying like 10 views, not like after doing one change.
Yeah. We will be changing the syntax a little bit, so please don't rely on that because that is subject to change. But we added no build option.
Yeah.
If you know that the project is compiled, then you can use it with no build. Also, if there is some build error and you don't know which one is it, you can turn on verbose build output, which will basically print out the results of the restore and build.
Yeah.
It should work on .NET Framework projects as well, which is interesting because this project, this .vvm command line is targeting .NET 8. But even if your project targets higher version of Framework, it will work because it's doing some magic tricks similar to, for example, Entity Framework command line tools that no matter what target framework, no matter what version of .vvm you are targeting, it will load the correct version of the assembly, correct version of the compiler, and do it. We will be changing that because currently it spits out all errors in the entire project and you cannot filter it to a specific file. I think for AI it would be great if it could put there, check just this file, do not bother with other files in the project because that could also take long. And also we will try to optimize the build. If the project is already built, let's not do it over and over. So right now there is my Copilot is working on optimizing that. Maybe it's already finished, I don't know, but there is an active GitHub issue and there is active running session right now when I'm trying to address that. So this will probably change. This target is currently path to SES proj. You should be running this in your folder of the project with the CS proj. So that's not that important option. We would use something like -- project if you are in another directory. But being able to specify the page or control you want to check, that's for me, I think it's more useful. So we will be changing that.
Yeah.
So if you want to install it, you can say .NET tool install .vvm command line globally as a global tool and find specify this version 5.00 preview 12 final. That will fetch the first public version where this should work. And your project has to target also at least this version. From this version up, it should work because with every release of .vvm, we also ship a thing called .vvm compiler. It's included in .vvm package. So this tool basically looks at what version of .vvm you have in your project. Then it looks for the NuGet package folder. There it will find compiler compiled either for .NET Framework or for the new .NET, run it, and get the output from there. So this is just a launcher for a .vvm compiler that must match the version of .vvm that you have. And the versions prior to this package, they don't have the compiler bundled in, so that's why it doesn't work. Yeah. So this is the lint command. You can use it from command line yourself, or you can ask AI to, or the skill already instructs AI to use it. And it's great if you are upgrading project from .vvm 4 to .vvm 5, because if you get no build errors, it doesn't mean that everything works. There could be some tiny breaking changes. So I encourage you to run .vvm lint on your project to see if there are any warnings or errors that will help you to find all these issues. Okay, so this is .vvm skill. It helps LLMs to produce good results, and we will be updating this. So, you can sometimes check the repo and download the newer version or something like that. Then there is a special short, simple skill for authoring controls. So if you need your agent to make a control, and you most frequently composite control, it doesn't document the older types of controls. So it provides some guidance how to build that. We will be expanding that because this is quite basic, but it works for some scenarios. So now you can ask AI agent, okay, I always need button with an icon and then text. So like make it like a composite control, and it would probably do it right because it has this skill. The other .vvm security skill is also quite interesting because there is a lot of mistakes where you can which you can do in your view models to make it insecure. Yeah. So if you give too many properties in the view model which you don't use in the UI and let user change it, and then take this value as granted and use it to store something in the database, then you can have problems. Basically, the view model is the same thing as an API controller.
Yeah.
Anything the user sends to you, you cannot trust it. You must ensure that it is valid, it's correct. Usually, they can try to exchange some IDs of projects, orders, customers to something else. And if it's valid ID and you don't validate it, you may actually be able to store it in the database and then violate permission checks or things like that. So you have to be careful about that. And this skill instructs the AI to look at that. So we are also thinking about having something in .vvm command line like .vvm security audit or something like that. And it would run this skill on every page and every view model and make sure that you don't have these problems, for example. Okay.
Yeah, we can address the chat because they've been asking for. I don't know if it's translating just for us.
It's translated. It's showing us. Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for watching.
Hi.
If you have any questions, feel free to post in the chat because we are watching it. We have it on the second screen, so we can answer the questions directly. So great to see you.
Which is the best way to know when we are streaming? Because I know it's usually on a Thursday in a month.
Yeah.
But do we have some kind of? I think on LinkedIn it's posted when we stream.
It's posted, and also on YouTube it's like 2 weeks ahead. And there is the live stream. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you should be able to see it.
That makes sense. Yeah, so we do it. Yeah. We do the streams before that, so that people can wait. Yeah. Okay.
And this most interesting skill, UI prototyping, I will just show what you can find inside. It contains a template for a .vvm project. And if you look inside, it contains Tailwind. And we should probably upgrade this to Preview 12 final or to final version. But it's using .vvm controls Tailwind. So it's an opinionated skill that will make you use the commercial components, but it can make a prototype of user interface based on your prompt.
Yes.
So if you ask it to make a website for car rental company and describe what you want to have there, it will use these components and make quite nice user interface. It would not be revolutionary, it would not be very inspiring. It would be like if you take all the websites on the internet, make an average of that, then it would probably look like that. And because it's built on Tailwind, it would look Tailwind-ish. But I think it's I'm actually using it when we have a new customer. They want some application and I need to make a price offer first and estimate how difficult it would be. I'm using this skill to make drafts of the screens to have some images in the price calculation, because otherwise the customer would not be able to imagine how it would look like. And of course, then you can play with design, you can make the app look nicer. But I think even this has quite nice baseline, so the application doesn't look bad, as you will see it in a few minutes. So you can use that, and this skill just gives some general rules of how the user interface should look like, and it's generating mocked data. So you don't need database, you don't need any, there will be no business logic, just it will generate a .vvm app where you can navigate between pages. You can see some data which are like generated in this C# class, and it's also already preparing models for each screen. So once you are happy with the UI, you can ask AI to make a change here, change this. And once you do that, then you have an app where you can just start adding business logic. You can basically replace this mock data class with a database or something like that, and you should be able to do that. Yeah. So there are instructions. There is a decision about the layout. If you want the menu on the top or on the side, then like there is how pages should be organized. There is, if there is some multi-step wizard, use this control. If you need tabs, use this control. Design forms using these components. Use proper validation things with data annotation attributes. If there are some like sections, use data, context, visible, and these things. How to behave with buttons. Is submit button equals true is very important, because if the user is in some form and presses enter key, then this button would be triggered. So like instruction not to forget that. Tailwind has this model confirm postback handler. So if you're deleting something, you can show this pop-up. Are you really sure that you want to delete something and you will not ever need it again? Things like that. Yeah. How to behave with notifications, grid views. And so these generic rules, it's opinionated. It will use this UI kit to build these things. And also we should upgrade that, as I see now, because now it can use the linter. However, there it should be, after that, it should be ready to use. So we will just do a few upgrades, like to upgrade the version of the packages to something public, and then it should be fine. So we'll see that in a minute. I just want to show one more thing. And basically, there is a folder called benchmarks in the repos. And I was curious how well the skills perform. If they are actually helpful, or if they are just like adding tokens in the context and they are not useful much. It depends on the concrete model, because if you use some half a year, 1 year old model, it usually hallucinates .vvm components. So these models definitely need the skills. But I tried that with GPT-5.6 Terra, one of the most powerful frontier models that are available for everyone. And actually, even without the skills, it didn't hallucinate much. So probably they trained the new model on our skill, on our previous version of the skill, which wasn't even public. But never mind, like it's fine. But or they are able to better recognize, okay, the user works with some niche framework, so we should be more grounded based on its documentation. Probably it can be also they ingested the documentation in some better way, or like it's improving a lot. So even if you are using a niche framework which is not mainstream, then like it will understand what you need, and it would more look in the documentation and less try to guess how it works.
We probably can't claim that ChatGPT chose .vvm as its baseline to learn from.
I'm actually
maybe they have a broader project scope.
Could be, but
maybe they've seen more .vvm.
But on the other hand, we have in our company a shared repo with infrastructure. It's called Riganti Shared Infrastructure, and we have a skill that describes how to use it, what it is. It's not published anywhere. You cannot find it on any public GitHub repo. So I'm curious, if I would ask ChatGPT, what do you know about Riganti Shared Infrastructure, if they actually know something, because they can, if you don't use it through Microsoft Foundry, but if you use directly OpenAI API, they can train on that. So maybe they would, if they don't anonymize the things correctly, they could know something about that, and it's not public. So I'm curious. I didn't try it, but I'm tempted to try it if they trained on our skills or the code that you send there. Because it's improving a lot, so like probably they put more and more data in that. So if I look in these benchmarks, there is a package JSON, because it's a Node thing, and I'm using a tool called PromptFoo, which can basically, you give it a prompt, it will run some kind of agent that does something, and then you can specify some assertions, what you want to look at, what you want to verify. And these assertions can also be evaluated by agents, so it's not deterministic, but it will be able to understand what happened and like to somehow rate or evaluate if it's behaving like okay-ish or not okay-ish. So there are two scripts, basically eval and view. I will not run eval because it takes 1 hour or something like that. I have to think about the performance. But basically, I have created a couple of tests. For example, make a customer management experience with list and details. So typical CRUD scenario. I prepared a template project which already contains some business logic. So there is like product service, customer service. There are models. So it should look in this project, and this is an empty .vvm application, and it should basically implement the feature there. So this is the task for the coding agent, and then you have some assertions. So one of the assertion is that check if the application has the following properties. Your outlink is used for navigation, not just pure hyperlinks. After the customer is saved, you need to redirect to the list page, and you should use grid view, data pager, and these things, and like using like this thing. And I think I will need to change that because now it's checking 4 things. I think maybe have 4 different assertions. There is also some shared assertion, like a generic one that I don't see where it is now. I cannot see it now. Yeah, here is this one. Yeah. Make sure that the task we got was like finished completely, like it's complete. Every requirement was addressed in the implementation. Do not judge like CSS or these things. Just look at the functionality if it's fine. So like do these things. And here is what models we should use for evaluation and what model we should use for this one. This is our own provider because it needs to take this template, prepare the workspace for the actual run, and make sure it is. So for example, for every test case, it will create this with skill and without skill folder. It will copy the template. With skill, it includes this agent skills with .vvm skills, copied from the repo root. And without skill, it just contains that without the skill. And then it will run codecs with this model in this folder, in this folder. They will get the same task, and this evaluates which one performs better. So I have somewhere the command line window, which is
and
like,
before showing the results, we have another question about Microsoft Agent Framework Harness.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything about it, but you're the Microsoft guy.
Yeah. Okay, I can say something about that because I'm using it in another project.
Really? Okay.
Basically, what is Agent Harness? If you use just a large language model, you give it some text or some images, some inputs, and it will produce a chat response. So it will respond with some like bunch of text and finished.
Yeah.
You can give it some tools or functions that can be called. So it can decide, okay, I need to call this function, but after that, the response basically ends. Yeah. It cannot do like, I will call some tool, then use this output to do something else, then call another tool, then like do that, because it cannot keep the goal. And if you make a harness around that, basically it's some kind of loop. Like you will look at what happened and did this really finish this what the user wanted? If not, then like decide about the next step and do it. Yeah. So it's repeatedly invoking this like chat response or a tool call to do these things. And basically that's what Codex does. That's basically what Copilot CLI does. That's basically what OpenCode does. So it's also an agent harness. And it has a lot of tools that can touch the file system. It can like run scripts and delete your machine or things like that. And so you can see the agent often makes a Python script and then runs it if they don't have a tool to a specific thing to read something from an Excel file. So it doesn't have a tool for working with Excel, so it will create some script, run it, and the harness is just some prompt around that makes sure if it's necessary to make an additional call to the LLM or if it's finished. It needs to keep like list of to-do items and make sure all of them were addressed. And of course there will be some guardrails, like if it's running for more than 1 week, probably it's stuck in some loop, so you should end. If the conversation history gets too long, it has some auto compaction, because otherwise it would not fit in the context window. So all of this is a harness. And if you use codecs, that's one example of the harness. So Microsoft Agent Framework is a library that can help you implement this harness.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I would want to implement my own codecs or codecs-like tool, then I would use Microsoft Agent Framework. And actually, I'm doing that because I need harness for an agent that will be able to replace me sitting in front of Outlook and answering emails. So I am now, it's already finished, just I need to test it and deploy it. But like when I get an email, it will run this agent harness that I made. It has a bunch of tools and it will see if the email is important, if I need to respond. If I need to respond, it will suggest a response and ask me to approve it. So it will not do anything unless I explicitly approve it. And if it's some specific kind of emails, for example, some Excel report with number of hours that has been approved by customer, so it will call an MCP server to issue an invoice for that. Yeah, so for these kind of tasks, the harness will have some tools which it can use to do these things. And I'm using Microsoft Agent Framework and implementing my custom harness for that. So we don't want to build our own harness for .vvm because there is codecs, there is Copilot. So we are just making these skills that should probably help these harnesses, existing harnesses, to work a little bit better.
Yeah, and it's a really fun project even without the framework, because I've built harnesses before to learn how they work and what it does, and it's a really fun. It can be made simple, but it wastes a lot of tokens if it's simple.
Okay, so back to Promptful. I wanted to see if it's how useful this skill is. So I run an npm run eval, which will take these 3 test cases I was showing. So 1, 2, 3. Second is some complex form for creating invoices. The third one is multi-step wizard with like a lot of clicking and these things. And basically, it runs 6 steps, because one is without skill, one is with skill. So like 2 times 3, it's 6. And then it runs the evaluation rules. I have a bug in this evaluation. I was running .vvm lint, but in a wrong directory, so it never passed. Yeah, so that's why everything is red. But then there is this agent rubric that looks if the task definition was already addressed, and then also every test case has additional test-specific things to check and make sure that it will work. So, for example, if the page view model is clearly separated in multiple steps, each having its own model for each step. So things like that. Okay, so this is the result, and if I run the view command, it will start a web server and allow me to display it in the UI. And I just want to show it, just like please do something.
And also the like soft check with agent has some kind of 75 percentile pass check, so it kind of has a little bit of baseline, and it has a little bit of wiggle room. It doesn't have to be completely perfect because the agent wouldn't probably check it properly.
Yeah, I think that these evaluations, they are just like informational, but you can always look in this directory and see what the model actually did. So here we have the list page with like these things. Yeah, button, apply filter, that's fine. Showing number of customers, I didn't even want it, but why not? But it doesn't use grid view. It created its own table. And for example, sorting is done by custom commands. Yeah. So without the skill, it doesn't know about the grid view. It's using repeater, and I think it's using it wrong, because this would render div inside of t-body. So if you run it, it would not work. It's not bad. You can quite easily fix it, but with the skill, it should be a little bit better. But it doesn't hallucinate any component. It's using what components we have, just sometimes it makes a mistake. With the skill, if I look here, I will have this default page. Yeah, it's created customer list, customer detail, but I didn't say exact file names, so they are free to decide what they will use. But apply filter, clear filter, that's fine. It's using grid view. It's using the sorting feature of the grid view as it should be. Button is using confirm postback handler. So I would do it the same way. Here I don't have any problem basically. If I look in the customer detail, I haven't seen it yet, so it's a surprise for me. So validation summary, I didn't say that I want something more clever for forms, so it's just using paragraph, but that's my mistake, or I should have agents MD. These things. So for example, here you can see there is text box, there is validator, and if you specify in agents MD your guidelines how these things should be done to match the style, because this is syntactically correct, it will work, I'm almost sure. But if you specify more precise guidelines, then you can make it even better to match your coding style, or that you want diffs or like I don't know what for form fields. So these things. Good. Validation summary is here. Create custom. Yeah, it's nothing special. There is a lot of CRUD samples, but with the skills, it's using more features of .vvm.
Yes.
If I look,
using them properly.
You can see here it's using grid view dataset with page size. It's correctly loading it only when is refresh required. We are using in-memory iQueryable, so it's not using load from queryable async because that would crash. But I hinted that in the test because that wasn't fair. Usually, most queryable are async from supported libraries, so that should be fine. Yeah, it's correctly using customer service. It's correctly using dependency injection, so it's exactly as I would expect that. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can verify that manually, and maybe the server already started. Great. Like I need a server to render an HTML page, but never mind, it has some filtering, it's fine. DotVVM also needs server. So you can see without skill, with skill. What is nice here is that you can compare how many tokens were eaten.
Ooh.
So without skill, this scenario number 3, it only needs 500,000 tokens. This needs 3 times as more and takes a little bit more. However, the result should be a little bit better. If I click on this magnifier glass and look at the evaluation, so this always fails because it's my mistake, then without the skill it didn't even do everything that was required. And also it's making its own validation. They have some address form, it's valid logic and these things. So that's what this will not let pass. Yeah, here there is like 2 fail, 1 pass, so at least one thing is correct. So with the skill, it did everything that was expected, but otherwise here validation is also manually implemented, and like there is no component for that. It's the address form is duplicated, so again not great, but it's difficult to make the rules, and it's non-deterministic. So if I run it again, probably the result would be different. The key here is just to see how big these mistakes are, and then you have to see it, and then it's about like, is it worth to wasting 3 times more tokens if the result is only a little bit better? And it depends on the model. So I think that it's just for inspiration, but we would need way more test cases, way more runs, and probably it would eat a lot of tokens. So here, for example, this customer CRUD. So with skill, as you can see in this evaluation, like these rules, like you should use route links, you should use grid view data pager, that should be fine. Yeah. And here there is, it's visible that here it's using route link, but it doesn't use grid view data set. They are doing manual paging themselves. So the agent knows that, but it's difficult to translate this to a quantifiable metric, so you would only see like pass or fail. But still, I think it provides quite useful information, because it's quite easy to prepare these test cases. Then you have to wait a couple of it was running like 45 minutes or something like that, so you need to wait for the results, but then you can look on many tasks how it performed.
Yeah, and also looking at the task 3, it was quite a big spread of the use tokens, but looking at the tasks 2 and 1, the difference is sometimes with skill even it's less tokens.
This was with the skill. For example, the CRUD with the skill was faster. You save 2 minutes almost. That's better. And token consumption is almost the same. Here it's without the skill it's worse than here, like by 20%, and it's slower. And here it's the opposite. Like without the skill it was a little bit faster and it ate less token. But I would have to look at the details how correct or how wrong is that. So that's more than this framework can do, but still it's quite good that you can run this at scale, and you can also run it with different models, because I'm using GPT-5.6 Terra, and this task make a multi-step wizard. It shouldn't be that big for this strong model. It should be able to handle it. So
it's a bit of alchemy. It's not like exact science, but it will at least show us something.
It will never be. For me, it's important that we have this template, so you can easily add any project to this templates folder, make a test case, and even if there would be 20 pages already implemented, it doesn't matter. It's just a template, so it will copy this project. And you run a prompt and you can see how a specific task on a specific project, what it would do, what it would break, and you can try that. So I think that this is a nice template, and you can put your own projects in that and try, will this agent be able to handle that? Does the skill really help, or it's useless? So for debugging the skills, I think it's quite nice. So you can play with these benchmarks too. If you have ideas for good test cases, you can give us a PR. It would be great. And most of that was actually generated by AI. I want CRUD for customers. Boom. Yeah, that's it. I just added this like boilerplate around that. So it's not that bad. Okay. So these were the skills. That was the linter. And let's look at the UI prototyping. So, what did you try to use it for?
Well, I've been very interested recently in helping customers achieve their vision, basically. Because usually customers have a great idea, but to push it to product takes a very big effort. So helping them with this to get the ball rolling faster is very nice, which is why we have the UI prototyping skill. But in this case, I was playing the customer, and I was just simply asking the agent to create something for me to basically see how it works. And also, one of the things which I'm very bad at is that whenever I take in something like these skills, I have to modify them for myself. I'm terrible in this. But I've basically changed few things to make copywriting for the pages a bit nicer to read, because as we all know, agents like to talk a lot, and agents like to use headline text, underline text, before headline text to say basically the same thing, and I don't like that when they're designing UI. I like really nice streamlined UI that's not very verbose, that's not very talkative, and that's one of the things I wanted to do. And the second one was that I like nice styling, and .vvm Tailwind is built on Tailwind. So basically, if the agent understands how to change Tailwind tokens whenever it needs to change a CSS property like color, then I'm allowing the agent to do that, but they have to change the token itself. So .vvm Tailwind takes in that token and changes its own behavior, which was an issue that I saw in our Tailwind side menu, which is blue, dark blue. And one of the examples I was trying to make was an orbital station exploration hub, which had its own styling. and it
So
didn't
it's the
work.
other project.
It didn't work at all.
Okay.
It's not
Even here. Okay.
It's just an anecdote to see
Yeah.
that it used our styling and tried to merge it with its own custom styling, and it didn't work at all. So I changed it up a bit, and this is the result of it. These two projects.
Okay. So which one I should start first?
Let's try the Field Ops Hub.
Field Ops Hub. Okay. So what it should do? What was the prompt?
So the prompt was that I am a company that's sending out a crew of repairmen on missions.
Okay.
So it's basically a field dispatch overview.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it. It's using only .vvm Tailwind. It's not really styling it at all. I wanted to see like pure fresh .vvm Tailwind usage.
Yeah.
But it's something that you can go ahead and say, okay, Mr. Customer, you want to send out technicians, and we have something that's looking at a daily schedule, how many jobs are today, how many are urgent, how many technicians we have, because that's a lot of people management is who came into work today, who didn't come into work today. Yeah. I have to manage people, send out different ones to the same jobs, manage their routes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is just a dashboard. It should be showing like, okay, what's our today daily operation? This is for the management part. And then we can click into one of the schedules, which is an example of a job. So basically we see the reported issue, which was that the freezer temperature read was too big. Yeah. And we need to send a technician to fix it, basically. We have customer who reported it. We can see the customer and the jobs we did for them. And it's a very basic app, but the customer will then say, I don't really like managing my employees like this, or I don't like managing my customers like this. And we can figure out the model before even writing the database model, which is really useful and really helpful.
So it doesn't do anything. There is just navigation between the pages.
Yep.
So if I go here to the dashboard, you can click between the pages. You can see there is the routing set up already. So we have like route, some parameter, ID of the job, and you have tab control to show more sections. It understood that it would be required, but when I click add part, it doesn't do anything. Yeah. So, and you can always ask AI agent, okay, when this happens, show a model dialog and design some forms like that. No business logic, mocked up data, but like you can show it to a customer, and customer will say, okay, I need another field here, some notes, something like that. Here I would need more information about that. This is useless. I don't need that because it's repeating information which is already here.
Exactly. So basically trying to spark the imagination of the customer, because they know what they want. They just don't know how to get there, or don't know the possibilities.
They cannot see it. If you show them 30 pages of a Word document where everything is described, they will not be able to imagine that. They will not be able to see it and give you good feedback on that. So that's great. And it's generating a .vvm application. So you are not wasting time and tokens. All this you can just use and add business logic later.
And also we can see a simple form when we click the create job button. It's a really simple form to request a new scheduled appointment. It's really simple, but one of the things that I know that actually customers want, because basically a lot of companies send out technicians and they want to manage their schedule. That's a really basic use case. So that was taken from how I imagine someone might want this to be.
Great thing is that this is actually working. So you can see all 3 steps of this process. This create job, it will not do anything, just show a notification. The job will not be there, but you can imagine how it would look like. You can click on some other job and see the status. So like that's great. Like there are more pages, list of equipment with some search, filtering. So that's great, I think.
It's a really simple way to showcase the idea. This was basically, I think this was even just like one prompt. Because I told it what I wanted to see, and then I let it go on and see what happens.
But even these things are like fine. Like it's using a visualization of the capacity, and like it's yeah, it's some like template. If you look at other applications that do same thing, it would look very similar.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not a big problem. Maybe it's like a good thing that users would not get something that is not expected for them.
Yeah, most existing applications are already trying to be standardized.
Yeah.
Trying to behave very similarly so that people can transition from one application to another and understand how they work. So I think for these, like, we are not making an art gallery here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be utilitarian. It's supposed to work and be functional and do what it's supposed to do. So,
and it doesn't look that bad. It's responsive to some extent. So like even if somebody opens that on the mobile, they will not be disappointed that much. This menu in Tailwind UI is responsive. So like that should be fine. Like, yeah, you can play with that to be like better than this, but still at least it's almost finished, and it's just a matter of few prompts to ensure that it would look nice on the mobile. So I think that's good. And as we said, there is no database, so there is this mock data class, which is probably very long, but it's just using this like generated data. And you can also, if you need more columns, you can just ask, okay, customer, I also need like customer company name or things like that. Yeah, so it's a very simple file with just lists of service types. You can also fine tune this with your customer first, or like slowly start replacing that and connect it to the database part by part. So I think it's great. And if you look at the models, it created one file, but you have model for job, you have model for customer. So if you then connect that to the database, it can work. Yeah.
And also it's a basically a first point in designing a domain model is to understand the domain, and having the visualization and understanding what the customer wants is like one of the best things that can be, because we have a simple validation there as well. So in a domain model, that would be a validation of the object. So I really like this. And I really like using .vvm for this, which was a thing that I've tried before with simple HTML, and it always was a bit too much of a random JavaScript stuff to get stuff working. And having a framework that can work without all of that was a really nice change. And using Tailwind controls is really simple, and I really like it. I know I'm biased because I worked on it, but I really liked it.
Yeah, but there's not much CSS actually here, maybe for these things, but still not that bad. And if we look in this like styles app CSS, nothing special.
This one was made so that we can showcase the raw Tailwind. And the next one will be a bit more nice, but we can also see the pages. Like, let's take a look at a simple
maybe job create, for example.
Job create.
So there are some CSS, but like can probably identify some of them that are not necessary. Or like this would probably be repeated on multiple pages, like title of the page and some like explanation what the page is doing that. So like you can just select that and agent make a component for that, and wrap it to a component with title and description of the page, and like you will make it simpler.
Or create a child.master page which has this already pre-filled and wrap everything in it.
Exactly. And here is the process template component from Tailwind. And what I really like in the mock data is that these things look real. It's not lorem ipsum. So the customer can really imagine something. If I would be creating this text, it would be some random thing, but like this looks real, so the customer would not be disturbed, but that there is lorem ipsum and they have to imagine something what it will be there in the real world. And you can see it's using our components for the forms, so it's fine. It's not 100% perfect for sure, and there are some things that are hard-coded in alerts. You will need to like use data binding to provide the real value. But since it doesn't have any business logic now, it's for prototyping, then I think it's quite fine.
Yeah, and it's very flexible. So adding or removing anything doesn't mean changing a database and creating a migration.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice way to quickly prototype with the customer so that they can immediately see something and figure out what they actually want.
Yeah, and like it's much better than when I asked agents generate just pure HTML pages.
Yeah.
Because then it's not consistent. Like every page has its own styles. The header, the menus look different on more pages, and like even the navigation can easily break because like one local change in one page can disturb the others. So this is better that it's like self-contained, and you have a fully functional app. You can already at this stage set up CI.
Exactly. Yeah.
Publish it to the customer so they can click in that and they can give you feedback what they want to change. You can do the same with the HTML files, but like still this is more closer to how the application would look like in the future. So that's it. That's great. And the other app?
And the other app was something that was just a random idea we had here in the office.
Yeah.
So shout out Nico. He had the idea to create a car rental company.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have a car rental company called Northline, which, by the way, is really funny. Whenever AI agent names a project, it's always some kind of...
The logo also is created by... perfect.
It's a random SVG, I think. It's maybe done in CSS.
Okay.
And it's always some kind of miraculous Northline or signal or something like... something that will change everyone's life, but it's just a...
average name of a US company, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really simple car rental, and it's using custom styling for buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
So it actually has custom CSS.
It was one prompt?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
This was one prompt.
Okay.
And it's using the change of tokens, basically. Before making this one, I had to write out how to change the Tailwind tokens, so I had to change the prompt.
Yeah.
But it basically changes the CSS tokens, which changes the overall vibe of the application on many places, like the checkboxes and the buttons. And we can try to find booking. Yeah. We can... Oh, it's already found a booking, but we can see the rent a car option.
Rent a car option, okay.
Yeah, and show available cars. So let's say we're going from Prague Airport to Prague Airport.
Yeah, okay.
And we need a car.
Yeah.
So we have 4 cars available. A really simple card which showcases the top panel, the bottom panel.
Yeah.
It's a really nice and simple example of how actually shops operate. Like on the right side, when it's scrolled with you, that's something that shops have been doing since basically I think maybe Shein or something came up with it, that when it scrolls with you, you're more likely to click on buy.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
And so it's really simple, nothing too special, but it already changes some of the styling, and it already makes the styling more brand-like, more like if some company has their defined color. Like one of these colors, our color, we can change the styling to reflect that, and the customer might even like be more imaginative in it when they see their own branding in this thing. So that's one of the things I also wanted to explore here. So everything is really simple but functional, looking really nice, looking really concise, and it's not every page has a different style.
Yeah.
And that's it. Basically.
It looks fine. Like, of course, there is a lot of work. It's just a prototype.
Yeah.
Like, you will be going through every page, change this, this text doesn't make sense. I don't want this because I want to have some hidden booking fees or like things like that. Yeah. These values would be different, but like to give the customer the idea how it can look like and then get more precise feedback than if you write a document. That's the point. And the more you can make your customer to relate to that, to identify with that, if you use their colors, their logos, still it's Tailwind UI based. But it doesn't look bad. I think you would not feel ashamed if you showed this to a customer. Yeah. If I would be trying to do the design myself, I would be very ashamed to show it even to myself. Yeah. It didn't generate privacy policy. That's my favorite one.
I don't think so.
No,
but I think it generated the locations and manage booking pages.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just
here, just done a view. Our location doesn't mean anything. Manage booking, yeah, you can can see it, and this is like okay, it's just redirecting here, but you can follow up. You can do more prompts. Okay, change date or location. It should open model dialog where I will be able to do that. There should be validation, difference on the price. What will happen if you already paid and now you want to change the location? How it will work. So this, I think it's great for a single prompt, and it's a real app that you can follow up. You can work with that. It's already generating the structure of the pages. It's generating the route table for you. So like all this like boring things are already taken care of. How did it do the Tailwind tokens? Yeah, so like it's just overridden the CSS variables to have custom colors, and it was it replaced some. It's new classes, Northlines something. So it defined new classes for hero section, and it's Tailwind. So LLMs know that very well. And like, it's a one long file, but you can ask, okay, split it to multiple files. Like it's not a problem. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and all of this styling is usually just to manage like basically groups of elements, which maybe could be also done with Tailwind control, but the agent didn't know it, so it wrote a quick little CSS, which can be changed and trained whenever we see this.
Yeah, like of course, like it needs a lot of work, but as a prototype to even get the specification of what should be built, I think for this purpose is perfect. So this is the .vvm UI prototyping skill. So if you include it in your repo, like if I open this in Explorer,
I don't think I have the skills there.
Okay,
I was taking it out of my project file.
So the correct way of how you can use these skills is to it's not here, but like if you go to let's show some real repo. So here are the .vvm skills, which you can download from here, from this folder. So take these folders, whichever you want, or all of them. And here you need to create .agent/skills in the root of your GitHub repo or Git repo. And the skills need to be placed in this folder. And if they are there and you use Codex or Copilot or anything, they should be able to understand that. Sometimes when I'm doing the UI prototyping, I have to explicitly say use .vvm UI prototyping skill to do that, because sometimes the agent doesn't figure out that it should use that particular skill. But you can always explicitly say use this skill to do the things.
Or I sometimes like to word it so it makes sense. So I'm saying like, let's create a .vvm Tailwind UI prototype so it knows exactly
it will find it. because like every skill starts with this name section, which needs to match the name of the folder exactly. And this is basically how the agent will realize that it needs this skill. So if because it doesn't load the skill unless it finds that it needs it to not exhaust the context. So this is very important. You need to mention something that is in the description, so the agent would realize, okay, I will need this skill. So that's it. So please try the skills and for sure give us the feedback, because there will be for sure many things we can improve in the skills. And for example, in this .vvm skill, these files in the control section, they are generated from the documentation. So if you find any inaccuracies or something that could be improved, please give us feedback. Feel free to submit issue or a PR. With AI, it's very easy to make PRs today. So like give us feedback of how you would want to improve it, and try the UI prototyping skill, because it's amazing. If you don't have a license for Tailwind UI for .vvm, you can go to .vvm.com and ask for a trial version. If you need more time to extend the trial, just let us know and we will be happy to extend the trial for 1 or 2 months, so you would have enough time to try it. But I think that's it's a great way to do that thing, because Tailwind UI brings the Tailwind based template in your application, so you will have nicely looking buttons, nicely looking text boxes, forms, all the other controls, model dialogues, and you don't need to bother with these things. And we are preparing more components to come to Tailwind UI, because with AI it's quite easy to implement new ones, so we are already working on that. Okay, so if there are any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. There are what we have there. Thanks for this great feedback. I would like to connect. Do you mean like to help us with to contribute something to .vvm? You can just feel free to post a pull request, or we have this forum .vvm.com, so you can post anything there. And we recently, and I want to also make a public thank you to one of our users who created MCP server for .vvm documentation. So you can also try it. So thank you very much. It looks interesting and it's quite nice. So you can try it. It should have the documentation indexed, so it's not doing web searches. It should be a little bit more efficient than using something else. So feel free to try it also and give feedback or submit a pull request to this repo. We will be working on MCP server as part of the support of VS Code and other IDEs to work with .vvm. On the other hand, the skills already help quite a lot. This .vvm linter, it should work on Linux and also on Mac, so that could also help. We spent quite a lot of time to make sure that it would pass in our CI environment, which runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So it should work on Linux and Mac as well. And then slowly we will be working on a .vvm extension. And also, if you use the forum, you can subscribe to this folder, to announcement category, because whenever we publish a new extension or a new versions of packages, I will post an announcement here. So feel free to subscribe to this as well. Okay. And we will be happy for any feedback, so feel free to send us your thoughts, or if you had some problems with these skills or .vvm command line, just let us know. We will be happy to fix it. Okay, great. So what do you have any ideas what to do next month?
I don't know. I'm thinking to get back to language servers, but that might not be that exciting to show.
We will see.
Maybe something about that.
We could. We will see. If you have any ideas what we should talk next time in next month, usually we are doing it something like second half of the month, and usually on Thursday, because that's at least for me it's the least busy day. So like that. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel because we will get notifications when we post a new video. I was thinking more about some like live coding, making some .vvm application, maybe even writing some actual code if we still remember how to do that. Something like that. We will see. If you have any ideas, feel free to post them, send them to us, and we will be happy to do it.
One of the fun ideas might be taking .vvm UI prototype and making it more real, or reviewing it, or something like that.
So we'll start the car rental company?
No, we probably won't start car rental company. Maybe something like reviewing movies or something like that. Something more on a smaller scale, simpler.
Okay.
But that might be interesting.
I'm thinking, I got an idea, maybe, because we have been showing how to do user interface and these things, but how to do the business layer. How to implement, how to structure the business logic. You can show some opinionated approach on how to do that, because we use recently on our company projects, we use the specification and use case pattern. So we can show how we do that and like what are the benefits.
Yeah, I was thinking today we shown the UI prototyping, and next time we can start from one of the
business
UI prototypes and make the business layer.
Okay, so let's try that. It would be great. Okay, so that's all from us for today, and see you next month with Tom and Dave. Discover.vvm.
Bye.
Bye.